The global monetary system is being rewritten, not by rebellion, but by protocol. How AI infrastructure, gold revaluation, Bitcoin reserves, and on-chain verification are quietly replacing a trust-based system with a settlement-based one. The system isn't being attacked, it's being updated. An ICT Proof of Concept. This article is a proof of concept for the ICT protocol going forward. It explains, in one integrated framework, why precious metals are moving, why Bitcoin has crossed into sovereign strategy, why equity indexes in crypto are diverging, and why governments are being forced toward cryptographic verification of truth itself. This is not a collection of themes. It is one system transition. 1. Why precious metals are moving first. Precious metals are the oldest trust me paper market collateral, a system built on claims, rehypothecation, and confidence rather than continuous physical settlement. For decades, metals markets have operated on layered paper claims that assume delivery will not be demanded en masse. This works until it doesn't. ICT's core assertion is simple. When delivery is demanded, paper markets do not fail gradually. They fail discreetly. A. AI infrastructure creates real, unavoidable demand. The industrial build-out of artificial intelligence, what ICT has framed as Project Genesis, requires physical reality. Data centers, power generation, grids, chips, wiring, metals. This is not speculative demand. It is input demand. Precious metals do not need a conspiracy to move higher in a world that is explicitly re-industrializing compute at scale. B. The deeper driver, paper versus physical stress. We already know paper markets can be manipulated. J.P. Morgan paid $920 million related to spoofing and manipulation in precious metals and U.S. Treasury markets, a documented precedent that price can be shaped when settlement is deferred. ICT's thesis is not controversial. If the same ounce of metal underwrites multiple derivative claims, price stability exists only as long as delivery is not required. Once lenders, sovereigns, or large holders demand physical settlement, exchange visible supply collapses, and price discovery snaps to reality. That is what metals are signaling. 2. Gold revaluation is a balance sheet lever, not a conspiracy. The United States officially carries its gold at a statutory value of $42.22 per ounce, a relic of 1973 accounting. This is not debated. It is written into law and reiterated in Treasury Inspector General audits. ICT's inference, clearly stated as such, a mark-to-market revaluation, or a functionally equivalent accounting adjustment, is a budget-neutral lever that allows sovereign balance sheets to be recapitalized without selling the asset and without overt default. This is not printing money in the Federal Reserve sense. It is re-rating an asset already owned. And critically, Treasury does not require congressional approval to make an accounting adjustment, just as the Federal Reserve does not require congressional approval to expand its own balance sheet. That distinction matters. 3. Bitcoin has crossed into sovereign strategy. In March 2025, the White House issued an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a broader digital asset stockpile. This is the inflection point. Bitcoin is no longer treated as a hobby, a protest, a fringe trade. It is now a recognized sovereign-grade reserve asset. ICT's framework, gold anchors credibility in the legacy system. Bitcoin anchors credibility in the new system because it is verifiable, scarce, and settlement final. Bitcoin is not replacing gold. It is completing it. 4. Paper metals and paper crypto are the same structural problem. ICT is not accusing every exchange or broker of fraud. ICT is stating a structural reality. Exchange balances are claims. Broker balances are claims. ETFs are claims. The base layer asset is something else entirely. This is true in metals. It is true in Bitcoin and Ethereum. As long as paper claims float freely and are rehypothecated, price can be shaped. But when holders demand delivery of the underlying asset, the system must reconcile claims with reality. That reconciliation is the coming crunch. 5. Why indexes and crypto are diverging. This divergence is not irrational. Equity indexes can be supported by narrative, buybacks, benchmark flows, and accounting flexibility. Crypto reprices faster because it trades the settlement layer, not just future earnings. ICT's view: crypto is front-running the ledger change. Indexes are still priced in the old one. The October leveraged washout cleared excess speculation and allowed institutions to begin placing risk-modeled, spot-driven bids ahead of regulatory clarity. This is not conspiracy. It is structure. Institutions do not buy what they cannot model, hedge, and defend. 6. The system is past the point where old fixes work. QE was the antibiotic. Liquidity was the drug. The system built tolerance. Now it rejects the cure. This is not cyclical. It is terminal for the old model. 7. The new system has new collateral and new counterparties. The replacement system does not argue, it settles. Gold and Bitcoin as collateral. AI infrastructure as the growth engine. Ethereum-based rails for settlement. Energy-dense power as the base layer. Paper claims fail. Real assets reprice. 8. Satoshi's thesis applied to the state. Why systems don't change through rebellion. They change through absorption. The solution is not persuasion. It is verification. On-chain macro data. On-chain accounting. On-chain audit trails. When truth is cryptographically provable, grift is exposed. Spoofing fails, narratives collapse. But here is the deeper point, the hero's journey. America point that ICT is making. The idea didn't fight the system. It shocked it. It was flagged as a threat. The system attacked it. That attack created awareness. Awareness allowed the code to be uploaded. Then came the counterattack. Regulatory pressure, narrative warfare, suppression, meant to extinguish the threat. But when a protocol is pure, permissionless, on-chain, every attack strengthens it. This is not violent overthrow. It is slow replacement through propagation. The host does not realize what is happening, because nothing appears broken. According to the system, all indicators are green, all checks pass, everything is working. The protocol is no longer flagged as an infection. It becomes normal behavior. Only later, long after the transition is complete, does the host disappear, not through collapse, but through irrelevance. Like Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, it enters, rewires behavior, ensures replication, and quietly replaces the host. The host never recognizes the infection, because by the time it could, it is already running the protocol. The regime in one paragraph: ICT. AI forces physical build-out. Hard assets reassert themselves as collateral. Gold is re-rated. Bitcoin becomes sovereign grade. Paper leverage is stress tested. Ledgers become verifiable. Truth becomes harder to fake. The system is not attacked. It is updated. And by the time it notices, it is already running the code that replaced it. What happens next is not a matter of opinion, but arithmetic. If the United States allocates $500 billion to $1 trillion into Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, and other sovereigns follow, the market cannot clear that demand at today's prices. The price must rise until enough real BTC is offered for sale. Depending on how much supply is actually available, that clearing price falls somewhere between $125,000 and $1 million per Bitcoin. This is not a forecast. It is a supply equation. In systems built on scarcity and settlement, size forces repricing. The market does not debate this. It adjusts. The host never realizes it's been replaced because everything still appears to be working.